started. So I have, if you can go to your introduction, sir.
I'm Ashwini Kumar. I'm engineering graduate from MNNIT, Allahabad, and then I worked my University. I was heading the function of supply chain management, value chain management, financial management, and at the end of my tenure, I was heading the department social responsibility and sustainable development. When the year 2010, Department of Public Enterprises made a policy for CSR for public sectors. So we created this. During my tenure of 2.5 years there, I dispersed more than 250 crore worth project sanctions, and that too we did through very transparent manner, going on the internet and going on the press and paneling various NGOs and partners, and then extended these projects across pan-India. And after superannuation, as it goes, I was given the tag of social call, and I am associated since 2012 with various NGOs and other dignitaries and parties, and so I am here today. And one of my pioneer NGOs is Swami Sivananda Memorial Institute at Punjab, wherein I share the story of one and MBA student who came for internship and what he did later. I'll share that later. Thank you.
Could you give it to the audience, sir? Audience
Sure.
will be delighted.
Sure. I think I'll count it. Sure.
I'm people call me KK to be short. I'm Dr. KK Upadhyay. Welcome on behalf of IICSR. When we started long back, it has been a long journey. We started with events basically. In Delhi, we did 2-3 events. We were working in Mumbai. And then when we took up CSR, that time it was in very beginning. I was with Vicky. I was director of Vicky. And part of making the law as such. That time spirit was very different. Idea was let the companies do what best they can do. Idea was not like everything will be looked after by the CSR. We know CSR money is hardly any, I won't give you percentages today of what is spent in development. It's hardly anything. Idea was to bring professionalism from the corporates to the CSR, to the social world basically. And then make it mandatory because that time it was started on 2010. It was accepted government cannot reach everybody. Especially that time there were 150 districts where there was very much less development as such. That's where it was thought of to link corporates with the development and make it. It was voluntary till 2021 in a way. Because what we were doing, it was either comply with the law or explain. From 2021, either comply with the law or pay penalty. What has happened over a period of time? When we started, I think it was in 2013, there was a thought of to make it a, what you call a criminal law. So if you see earlier cuttings and all, you'll find if you don't comply, you get 3-year jail. But later on, 2021, what we have made is We don't send you to jail, but your company pays 1 crore in fine, and each individual officer pays about 2 lakh rupees. 366 cases have been registered. Lot of companies have lost in the court. Now, what they have to spend on CSR, they have to give as penalty 3 times the money. That's where we started with CSR, which broadly lot of companies used to cover under sustainability. Now we have to move to paradigm of ESG, environment, social, and governance. Still, emphasis is on S, social. If you call me, I talk more, I feel comfortable in social. When it comes to governance, I have to read myself before coming to give a lecture. I teach at Birla Institute of Management Technology. I'm a professor there. We also have a center for CSR and sustainability. We do a lot of research, teaching, consultancy, and very happy to be here. Very happy to answer any question or anything. So again, welcome on behalf of IICSR. So we are always available for IICSR. We have seen it growing, and anytime, anywhere you need us, please. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. From NEPC, we give a welcome speech.
Morning, everyone. Respected Dr. Padhyay, Mr. Ashwini Kumar, participants from different companies who have taken out their time to present their papers. At MEPSC, I wanted to highlight, we have been doing a lot of work in terms of skilling on CSR and sustainability. We also want to do a lot of things with ESG. That's how we actually partnered with IICSR. So I am looking forward to a lot of learnings from each participant's papers which they present. That will actually help us to create qualifications around it. Those qualifications can be rendered to many professionals going forward. We can create workforce around this sustainability thing, which we really want to do it. So I welcome you all, though most of them, I believe, has chosen to join online today. That's why the tables are pretty vacant today. Nevertheless, whether it is online, offline, but learnings will continue. And I am sure that all the papers which will come across today will be a lot of learnings for all of us. With this, I thank you all for joining this event, which is in association with IICSR and MEPSC. I welcome you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, jury members.
Namaskar, and I'll again say welcome to you all. I introduced myself while sitting there. I was telling one story of one young entrepreneur I'll call today. He came from France as an intern in our NGO at Punjab Viva. He was here for 3 months or so, but when he saw the women from deprived society and all are working so hard and making goods for the public, and those were cotton bags. So he took sample 5 years back, worth few thousand. Today he is doing import from our NGO worth 8 crore plus. And he is selling on the streets of France and competing with China, Malaysia, and he is selling his strength is Women of India. That's what he has propagated there and said, these are from the friendly NGO Hind Bag. If you put Hind Bag in YouTube, you will find this. And ssmi.in is the organization. As I said earlier, I worked major part in BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, which all of you may be knowing. The light lit here, 70% are produced from the equipment of BHEL. And the trains which are running on our railways, 80% of the drive, motor and generator are of BHEL. Hydro plant, almost everything is from BHEL. So that way our presence is in every house, everywhere. And I am here as a member of Network for Social Change. So I am very much engaged since 2012 after my superannuation in the social call. Thank you, IICSR and others for giving me a chance, and special thank to Mr. Upadhyay. He took me along. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Accept these flowers from the ICCR.
Sorry. आजकल फोटो ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. Sure. Can we have to get just 1 minute, huh? Oh, Mohit?
Yes, sir.
Why do one of you come? Come. Hello, क्यों? हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है कि ना, we are in academics. हम लोगों के शौक थोड़े अलग होते हैं. Gender balance हमेशा रहना चाहिए. So in panel we don't have. Please come. Sir. No. You have to see that side. So. Why don't we, before we start, because we are not very, like say you are going to make presentation, I think morning presentations are online. Offline, sorry. And evening will be offline. So my idea is whosoever are there, why don't we have a group photograph now? And then have in the evening, whatever we do. Yeah, please. So I will call everybody. Wait, I guess. Deepak? Yes, no, please. अच्छा, मेरा भी ले लेना एक फोटोग्राफ. आपका वीडियो 029. आप बैठे हैं, पीछे आ जाते हैं. बैठिए, दो लोग तो बैठ, सब लोग इधर आ जाओ. Come, Ashwini. Come, please there. Come, Mohit. Just 1 minute, please. ठीक है? भी देखना सब ठीक है? हाँ सर. हाइट वाइज एंड मेरी छोटी हाइट है ना, तो मैं आगे बैठ जाता हूँ. So I think he's outside. चीज जरूर बोलिएगा. अभी एक मिनट रुकिए. हाँ श्योर. इस 2029 आ रहा है. Sure. Thank you. So let's
Sir,
2 minutes.
maybe you could sit that side.
Let's easier for us to see. नहीं 2 मिनट आप यहीं पे बात कर लें पहले. See what the program is, Mohit. Mohit, you can tell from there. Morning we are going to have online presentations. Offline, sorry.
Offline. So now we'll start with presentations. Everybody would be having 10 minutes. So you can conclude it.
Then how will you control the time? What time lunch?
Lunch is 1 to 2, sir.
1 to 2. Then when your panel or other people are coming,
So 2 to 4 would be online presentation. Some people are already on the Zoom meeting. It will be shared from there, slides and the person.
What we will do is, let's say we finish off before 1, and we will take 1 or 2 of them online also, so that we increase the timings of lunch, and then post lunch we will continue the further presentations which are on. That's how we will.
When is offline?
Offline
No.
is this,
No.
in person is offline.
No.
Everyone, yeah. People who are not in the room will present in the second. Make sure that some of them haven't come, right? People can we change the sequence, otherwise one offline.
Yeah, that's what we will do.
Whoever is here,
Yeah.
let's present.
We will present.
Tell us when you need us.
So you would be there. You can just.
There's no other panel discussion now. No. Okay, it's presentation and giving certificate. Correct, sir.
जो कैमरा एडजस्ट कीजिए ना माइक ठीक
तो
रहा
आगे आ जाइए ना।
आप इधर ही आएंगे.
हाँ नहीं 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 ये आपका जो प्रेजेंट करते हैं ना सो माइक इज विजिबल इन द कैमरा
Actually, it will depend on it.
just looking at that
That would be according to my head.
oh that I understand
I tried to adjust it as per time.
okay hello Manish अच्छा हाँ माइक तो हटा दिया है अच्छा गैस में
Should we start? Yes, sir.
तो समय से बात कर लीजिए समय से ISCS no, it's fine. I mean, audience wants to look at an online people. They want to look at the audience more than media. It is not possible. Either this or that.
We can see now. See. You want to see the audience?
No, not me. Online participants.
They want to see the audience. Maybe Westing that we change the audience. He says that
Online participants are asking.
No, the presentations are important. If they don't have it here, they could have seen the participants. Why should yeah.
So let us start. Do everybody has an agenda? A copy of
You
agenda?
can call the names, they can come and they can start the presentation.
Tasneem Nalwani. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Shall we start?
Yes.
Share the presentation, share the Zoom. It's not there. The Zoom is it shared?
Yes. Presentation. Screen share would be there.
Share में जाओ.
We were already doing
Yes, I can share screen. Share screen. Sorry, share.
Is it coming now?
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, distinguished guests. Good morning, people of knowledge and wisdom. Good morning to ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tasneem Nalwala, and I'm a student of Masters of CSR and Sustainability. And today I'm going to present to you my thesis on a strategic, having a strategy for CSR and sustainability for companies. And I've taken a case study as Fab India. So this is how I've laid my presentation. There'll be an introduction. Then I'll be stating what is corporate responsibility. Then I'll be talking about my case study, that's Fab India, and then there'll be the conclusion. So what is the strategy of a company is to make a positive contribution to the society, which constitutes a legal obligation. And it is in three manner. One is balancing the profit maximization and stakeholder needs, and having the values such as honesty, fairness, and integrity. And what is sustainability? It is making a zero impact on the environment and how the future generation will benefit from it. Now, managing a corporate responsibility. Now, corporate responsibility is a form of change management. And the corporate responsibility activity is divided into identifying the purpose and intended result, establishing the principles and processes to achieve the end result, and allocating responsibility for its execution. Okay, now there are stages of corporate responsibility. Okay, so the level of maturity by the company action is in 7 areas of management. Okay, so these are the 7 areas of management. One is the citizenship concept. Then there's a strategic intent, leadership, structure, issue management, stakeholder relationship, and transparency. So is how a company wants to having a matured framework for their company. So it depends on these areas of management. Okay, so I've just given a slight example over here. So there are stages. One is the elementary. Then there's a stage 2 that is engaged. Stage 3 that is innovation. Stage 4 is integrated. And the stage 5 is transforming. For example, if we take the citizenship concept. So it is what a company, how they are creating jobs, the profits, how about taxes. Then engage will be how they're doing philanthropy, how they're having the environmental protection. Innovation is stakeholder management. Then integrated is the triple bottom line and the sustainability. And the transforming is changing the game. Then in a strategic intent, it's about a legal compliance. And then in transforming is about a social change. And now I'll just talk about transparency. Is like in the elementary is like how you how you protect your company. And then in engagement state is the public relationship. Innovation will be the public reporting. Integrating will be assurance, and transforming will be full disclosure. So all the companies, like it can start with elementary and they can go and become a transformed in the CSR and sustainability by following these stages. So as a case study, I've taken Fab India. Fab India was founded by 1960 by John Bissell, and the company aimed to connect the rural artisan with urban market of promoting the local communities. And now India is doing a fantastic job in promoting the local communities. We have seen the kind of work we are done with, promoting our handicraft and tradition. So in Fab India, they have around 325 retail stores in India, and they also have stores in all around the world, like in Europe, America, and they have a wide range of product line. And it acknowledged that the sustainability will shape everything the way we do business. Okay, so in Fab India, they have a CEO. Okay, and under the CEO, they have a director and communication and CSR, and then they have the head of CSR, and they have a CSR team. So I feel that every company should have a CSR and subsidy management team who can look after this, and communication is very important part of this sector. So to develop a strategy, the company needs to have a comprehensive strategy that aligns the corporate value with the societal and environmental need, which is a key for long-term success and positive impact. Okay, so now to develop a strategy, there are a lot of points. So first, they need to assess the current status of the company. So they need to assess that where the company is standing. They need to identify the areas of improvement and set a baseline for future progress. They need to assess the social and environmental performance. Then they need to understand the stakeholder engagement. So in the stakeholder, there are two different groups with expectation. One is the group which influence the company action, and one who interests in what the company does. So here I've just shown, just to, for understanding, one is this company influence is low or high, and the stakeholder interest is insignificant or significant. And that is how you can look into the needs of the stakeholders. Then you need to understand the environmental sustainability, like whether you're using a renewable energy, there is a waste management, water conservation. You need to understand the ethical of the business. That is, you need to understand the supply chain transparency. So then there should be no human right abuse and any unethical practice. There should be a fair trade of practice, that everyone should get a fair wages and in all the workers involved. Then you should also understand the company impact, like whether all the rules and regulations are getting followed. You have to understand the company engagement. You need to do assessment, like what issues faced by the local communities, and identifying the areas of support. You need to have a partnership and collaboration with for the development with local NGOs, organizations, stakeholders, to develop projects that address the company needs and foster sustainable development. And you need to have an assessment of long-term impact. Like you need to understand that if you're doing this, how is going to impact the company, the community engagement initiatives, and how it can maximize the positive outcomes. Okay, we need to understand the employee well-being. There should be work-life balance. You need to understand diversity and inclusion, and the professional development. The company should in the CSR strategic thing, we need to invest in employee training and in skill and development to enhance the skill and development and have a job satisfaction. So what is the future of corporate responsibility? It will be the climate change, demographic change, there'll be rural upliftment, and there'll be global geopolitical change. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation. Any questions? Yes.
Fab India working as a company or NGO?
So as a company, they're working as a company, but they're looking into the like through their CSR thing. They help in the they help these local communities. So it's not working as an NGO. It's a pure profit, sir. But their working way is very professional, you know. So I think all the NGOs should take that in their work way, you know. Yes.
ESG scope of the day. Everybody talks about
yes.
ESG. In your case study, how do you relate that India to ESG?
Yes, sir.
Just one.
Yes. So ESG is environmental, social, and corporate governance. So as a Fab India company, sir, they look into the governance part, okay, where as a company they're following all the corporate laws and everything, and also looking at the social outcome, and also looking at how they're impacting the environment, like there's a low wastage of fabrics and low wastage of clothes, and so they're looking into all those things also. Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Ma'am, one question.
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, can you explain any projects to bring back the climatic change to the normal? Is there any project regarding this?
Could you be loud, please?
Can you please tell a few examples for bringing for maintaining the climatic change? You told that in the previous slide. That is, the climatic change has been.
Okay.
Is there any initiatives taken? Yes.
Initiative.
there any example? Yes.
You mean to say how the company can have a climatic change to the action?
Yes. Is there any examples? Can you
Yeah,
project it?
see, if the company, they follow the renewable energy and everything, and they use solar energy, they cut down the carbon use, I think they'll definitely impact the environment and the carbon and the climatic change scenario. Are you
Okay.
satisfied with my answer?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So sustainability, that is the way it will shape the business.
Last year, how much was it?
So what?
Budget.
Budget.
Budget. So no, sir, we have not disclosed the budget of.
So what they are doing is actually they have done. If you see the supply chain, you are from supply chain, sir. Yes, he was from supply chain. What Fab India is doing is, in every venture from where they procure, they have taken up 26% stakeholding. So they are actually a minority shareholder in every firm they buy from. And that is how they are actually making the rural upliftment. It was wonderful. And the second person from agenda, Anjali Yadav. Yes, we will do. Anjali.
India is 1400.
Yeah.
That's for the rural policy.
And the valuation is 7,000 crores, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, where is he?
Yeah.
Harsha, is Anjali's presentation there?
Yes, it is there. Let me check again. Otherwise, Anjali, can you share your presentation? Are you there in person?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, just give me a second because you sent it only in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So by the time we can have the third one.
Yeah, I'll bring it.
Supriya? Ravi?
Yeah, I'm presenting online.
Online would be after offline. So right now we are focusing on offline. Aparna is there?
I can share your presentation from my screen.
Yes. So we do Anjali is in the next round. Maybe let the Aparna take.
Can we do
this
a slideshow?
Yes, we do this. ECG in pharmaceutical industry by Aparna Patak.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everybody. Distinguished guests, my fellow students from the MSG. My name is Aparna Patak, and I am a DEI leader from Novartis. So, couple of reasons why I chose this particular topic. One is I am in pharma. So that gives me some of the insights that is happening, some of the challenges that are there. Then I'm very close to the social aspect, being a DI leader, very close to the social aspect of ESG. And that is why, I wanted to see that, what is it, and pharma industry as such has a huge social impact. Some of the things that we talk about is around access to medicine. We talk about diversity in clinical trials. That means, the medicines that you manufacture will have an impact basis your ethnicity as well as your where you're located, right? For example, we know that there's high prevalence of diabetes in India or in the Indian subcontinent. And if you do a clinical trial of a diabetes drug without taking into considerations people from this subcontinent, your drug may not be as effective or may not be used by the majority of people. So these are a couple of reasons that I wanted to do a deep dive study on the pharmaceutical industry, on what we do. And the way I have approached this particular thesis that we have done is, obviously everything is based on publicly available information. What I've tried to do is understand the ESG aspects within pharma, what are the environmental, social, and governance issues. Then we did basically looking at Indian pharma industry, identified some of the key issues that we have in ESG with respect to pharma, and then deep dive into three companies, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, and Aurobindo Pharma. And there was no particular reason, but on Cipla and Dr. Reddy's are well known for some of their work they're doing. And Aurobindo was also to give you something that we can do as aspire to. So the key objective of this project is analyze the state of adoption of ESG practices in pharma, understand some of the best practices, key challenges, and the way forward. So these are the table of contents. I will not take your time on this, and we'll go through this as well. You know, when I was doing this research, some of the things that came out was really interesting. Because pharma is very close to the social aspect, we have never really looked at the environmental impact of pharma. So it seems the pharma industry emissions are more than automotive industry, which is actually much smaller. I mean, a pharma company industry is much smaller than the automotive industry, but it emits much more as compared to automotive. Biolabs, they use 10 times more energy than regular office buildings. As well as when we are manufacturing pharma products, it is more resource intensive and pollutive than standard chemical companies. And what WHO has mentioned that 15% of total health industries, and obviously health industry includes hospitals as well as pharma companies, is considered hazardous material that may be infectious, toxic, and radioactive. Now, why is the environmental impact is critical? Is that climate change is impacting the way our global human health, and as a result, new diseases are going to emerge. And obviously, that is where again pharma industry will come in, because they will have to innovate, find out new drugs, have a new processes that they will have in place to manufacture these new drugs for the new diseases that are being held. So these are some of the key snapshots about the ESG challenges and ESG aspects within the pharma industry. Now, doing a deep dive into the Indian pharma industry, it's called the pharmacy of the world. As we saw during COVID, we manufactured quite a lot of vaccines, and which we not only vaccinated our whole population, but also exported to other countries. And 60% of the vaccines are, produced in India, and 20% of the global generics are from India. Now, this is a very key industry in the overall economic growth of India, and it is expected to reach around $130 billion by 2030, and 450 billion by 2047, which is called India at 100. That is when we will be 100 years as an independent country. Now, it is a very ambitious plan, and they have identified 3 areas which is needed to be fostered for us to reach that particular 450 billion by 2047. Of course, first is become the innovation powerhouse of the world. Second is become part of the global supply chain. And third is achieve sustainable and equitable healthcare for all. So these are the 3 priorities on which the pharma industry is going to work on over the next 25 years. Now, for us to become the innovation powerhouse, we have to move up the value chain in terms of what we manufacture. So right now we are into generics, and we will have to go into the next gen therapeutics, which is around cell and gene therapies, which is around DNA and RNA-based therapeutics, and so on. Now, some of the key focus areas in terms of ESG is, of course, on the manufacturing side, how to make it sustainable and making around the green chemistry, fostering sustainable supply chain, and obviously reducing some of the packaging waste. Because you see, during the packaging as well, we use quite a lot of material which may or may not be recyclable. how is a drug manufactured and then disposed of? So it starts with the drug development, which is around drug discovery, development, and scaling. And under this, there are multiple aspects. There is the clinical trial. You have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Then it goes for approval. Then you come back, and there is a whole how it will be manufactured and scaled up. So the first part is, of course, drug discovery, development, and scaling. And then, of course, there is manufacturing supply chain, where you will have ingredients that you will be sourcing from different sources across the world. And then there is packaging, logistics, where you're going to share, where you're going to transport all your medicines at various stages. Then finally, there is patient engagement, medicine optimization, and disposal. Now, this becomes very critical, especially because the drug life may be very limited, and then they have to be disposed. And how you're disposing becomes very critical, because it might lead to toxicity in places where it is being disposed of. So this is the whole value chain of pharma industry, which is based on regulatory and compliance, which is their whole throughout. It's a highly regulated industry because it has a direct impact on the human life. These are some of the key material topics in ESG in pharma industry, and depending on the appetite of the company, they will be prioritizing what they are going to look at. So of course, one of the key things is affordability and availability of medicines, which is called access to medicine. And then obviously there is around promotion of diversity, corporate governance, etc., which we will talk a bit more here. So now, when we are going to transition from the present stage, where the adoption of ESG is pretty low in pharma industry, to going into a future where we have sustainable operations and products, there has to be a journey. And this journey can lead to some of the changes in supply chain, or it can lead to disruption in some of the supply chain activities. Because some of the challenges that we have is that when you're doing this ESG transition, you cannot share the transition cost with your customers, who are your patients, because your customers in the pharma industry is your patients. So very limited cost sharing of ESG measure with customer is possible. And that is where the regulators and companies have a big role to play, because any change in the process of making a drug changes, there has to go through a multiple approval process. So it is not easy to say that, okay, now I will just move into this new sustainable manufacturing. And we have to go through this whole process. And that is where the regulatory bodies will have a big role to play. Giving a ESG snapshot of Indian pharma industry. So this is most of the data has been taken from a ESGrisk.ai report, which actually is a rating agency which has started doing this, and it is now empaneled by the AMFI for mutual funds ESG rating as well. Now, it's a very average kind of a score. It's a 55% average BRR score. You can look at this report. It's available online, freely downloadable, and their methodology as well. And if you see the performance on the ESG aspect, on the environmental, it is 23%, 33% on social, 70% on governance. And the adoption by the companies around the standards and framework is also pretty bad. If you see alignment to TCFD is around 3%, GRI around 13%, and UN SDG around 17%. Whereas, one of the SDG goal, which is SDG 3, is totally into health and well-being. And this is another aspect, some of the material topics which is there. You can see some of around board independence, CSG emissions, GHG emissions, water pollution, product quality, employee safety, right? So these are some of the scores that has been there. What is the average score? What is the highest score? As well as what is the lowest score? And there is this rating of companies, which are the companies which are doing very well on environmental side, social side, and governance side. And this is as per the 2022 data. Now, doing a comparison between these three companies, you can see they have, all of them have ESG commitments. The ESG ratings are, for Cipla and Dr. Reddy is similar, but it is not so good for Aurobindo. Some of the, there is a very good organization in Cipla and Dr. Reddy's, very well-defined organization, and all of them have started looking at, integrated report from 2023 onwards, 2022-23. Now, there are two critical transitions that are going to impact this whole ESG adoption. One is circular economy. And how is that a challenge? Because in pharma industry, the purity of the material is very critical. And when you're doing a recycling, you do not know, or you do not know understand the purity of the. And the other is evolution towards in industry 4.0, which is around blockchain, AI, etc., and how it is going to impact. It is going to have a positive impact, but it might have a lower impact on the social side. And I will end with this particular slide, which talks about that, this is the whole value chain, R&D, procurement, manufacturing, right up to customer services. And you can look at these, 6 or 7 topics, and this is a broad indication. This is not the only solution that is there. And look at what are the things that you can do across this value chain. And this will help you to understand that, these initiatives will if you do, we can be, helping with the ESG adoption in the pharma industry. So with that, I thank you for your time. And these are some of the references. Thank you.
See, as per the law, whatever CSR you do, it should not be in line with your business. How does this company happen?
So, see, some of the CSR activity anyway would be related to, when you are doing in the community engagement activity that you're doing. So, especially in the manufacturing locations, like Dr. Reddy's does, is that, you are going to do some of the, either tree plantation or water rejuvenation kind of a thing. That is how you're going to do it. So it may not be what you're doing in terms of the pharma, the health and well-being of it, but you could be that, you're enabling more women participation in certain aspects of the economy, which is around, may not be related to overall pharma industry.
I'll go first, sir. Aparna, you talked about upskilling of employees, in order to promote ESG a lot. Do you really see it as a challenge that these people who are in the organization are not getting upskilled, or what does your paper show light on? People who are there, are they not trained enough, or what is the requirement? What kind of requirement would come up in next 5 years? Because ESG, everybody is going to be aligned to that. What kind of requirements would come up in next 5 years? I'm asking this question just to enable the ecosystem with more workforce around ESG. So, any light on that?
Yeah, and that's a very good question, Mr. Santosh. See, the way I would say it is, what we are seeing as more and more younger generation are coming is that they need to look at what is the purpose of the company, right? And when we realize and when we hear this news article that this company has been fined for toxic lakes that they have generated or toxic water bodies, and all that creates you will not get the talent pool which you need for pharma industry to become the world leader that is aspiration. It is very critical that people who are inside start thinking of initiatives across the value chain. When I'm doing a drug development, do I understand that what will be the impact of the particular packaging that might come in? Which I might, as a saying that I'm a drug developer, it is my responsibility only to develop drug. But if I don't understand that, if I'm going to do the formulation, what is it? If I'm doing it in a glass bottle, is there an interaction that is going to happen? Is there an interaction that is going to happen with the drug that I have developed? So those kind of information needs to be there. So I'm saying that it is not only, oh, I am. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you're visible, but we can't hear you. Mohit, you are visible, but we can't hear you.
No, I'm speaking right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can see you also.
Yeah. Because I think if you do that, there might be an echo. That's why. Yeah.
You speak in my
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Any other questions?
So,
I think.
yeah, very important topic that is the environmental impacts of pharma industries. ESG rating of pharma industries relative to like other industries, steel, manufacturing, coal.
It is actually poor. It is actually average. Even some of the other sectors are much higher. As per the ESG yearbook that was published in 2022, it is average. It is something that, and traditionally they have mostly focused on the social side, which is access to medicine. But now, as I was saying, that people don't realize that how highly intensive the emissions are in the pharma industry, and this focus that we are going to have is very important for us to be able to be a sustainable manufacturing for pharma.
So, my question is to Dr. Upadhyay. Any particular guideline? ESG rating is normally given by going wrong. Not tackling pharma, who, as per her, that's one of the most polluting. Before that, very straightforward question to you: should I be diplomatic or straightforward? Yeah, straightforward. Straightforward is ESG is not mandatory at this point of time. We are still working on the standards and others. I don't want to say that, but as a consultant, we have a good mark.
But it's only Dr. Reddy's which is actually just now joined in SBTI. Others, I mean, Cipla has also taken TCFD. But if you see the rating around SDG alignment is only around 13% or so, and 3% is only on TCFD. So actually, it's only companies that they're doing it on their own. There is nothing specific from the as a guideline.
I think it's important to have guidelines on ESG issued by government and which companies have to adhere to strict compliance.
Exactly.
थोड़ा सा जो पंजाबी स्टाइल में जोक्स मारते हैं, इस चीज है पापा।
It has been voluntary.
ESG rating का क्या फायदा है? They might as well not have a rating at all.
सर स्टोरी बनती है ना।
But if you see, even the CIPLA and Dr. Reddy's, which are doing pretty good, they have been rated BBB by MSCI and medium risk by Sustainalytics. So they are also not, in the top. They are not leaders. They are average.
So in this forum, now that we discussed this and Aparna has brought out a very important thing, can we at least take a decision to write to someone and on this particular thing, and maybe
three things are
somewhere it
needed.
has to start.
In Molex, three things are needed. First, to understand the whole concept. Second thing is how people follow it. But one good thing why we are all here is future basically. Because investors are asking, not the government. When you go for asking for a fund, your company goes for a fund, SBI has a separate company to finance sustainability and ESG. So they go on it. Is at this point of time investor-led initiative.
I got it. My question was when we can have NGT,
yes,
all whole lot of other agencies.
Sir, we बहुत काम करना है. Our future is very safe.
But slowly you see, government also implementing such initiatives. It will become mandate. Like CSR has become a mandate. This will also become a mandate.
Thank you so much for all the questions.
Thank you.
We call on Anjali Yadav now from Sunbird Trust. She will be talking about CSR impact on school education in Manipur. Stage is yours, Anjali.
Very good morning to all of you. Nice seeing you all fresh and fine. And I'm looking forward to learn from everyone, each and everyone here. And after this presentation, it would be great if we network and talk about my NGO and also your companies, same on the online platform also. So I'll start with my presentation. So good morning, everyone. My name is Anjali Yadav. I work at a NGO called Sunbird Trust, and I work as a sponsorship coordinator there. And also all the pictures over here are all originally taken from our NGO, nothing from online or anything. So content will be like, firstly, I'll discuss about why CSR is not CSR funds is not reaching the Northeast, and I'll show the graphs and everything, and also the limitations. We'll discuss why it's not reaching, and how Sunbird Trust is tackling this problem. We'll talk in detail. So the scope of the study is to understand the impact of CSR in Northeast, and I have taken all the as much as I can. I have seen the aspects, like what all the aspects are there to why we don't focus on Northeast, and like my aim from this presentation will be to grab the attention of all of you, and maybe in future we can connect and go forward with the NGO. So why CSR? We all know why CSR at this point, but from my side, I would say is to create a balance in our society, and it also helps our companies to have a good brand value and marketing and everything. Why focus on Northeast India? So firstly, it's Northeast is like a chicken eggs. It is very far from our mainland India. Today also the Northeast people consider us as Indians, and they don't call themselves as Indians. Whenever we go, they say, oh, mainlanders have come, but they don't consider themselves as Indians. So firstly, it's this, and like I have been living in Manipur, Assam, and Nagaland for past year, and I have observed that it has like in current few months before, you could have heard about the crisis going on in Manipur, and like I have literally seen, I have been there, I was staying there, and I saw all the insurgencies happening in front of my eyes. So this is all a very touching point, but we will discuss about it. So here we can see that all in the Northeast states, mostly the percentages of CSR spendings and everything is very less. In which in all the 7 to 8 states, Assam has been getting more percentage of CSR funds, but comparatively to India, to rest of the India, only 3% of the CSR funds reach the Northeast. Even the public and private CSR, I mean PSUs do invest, but we can see that in the second graph, we can see that Mizoram, we have zero spendings over there, expenditure, and the expenditure in 14-15 and 14-15, it's mostly zero, hardly 0.26, 23, like this it's going on. Here we can see the comparative chart that the most of the CSR funds are going to Maharashtra, and if you look at the northeastern states, it's on the zero line mostly. It's not like the CSR funds are not reaching. They are reaching, but like how much it's needed, it's not reaching. That's what we can see here. So what are the limitations? Firstly, you can see that there is inadequacy of investments. Then there is no proper measurement of how we measure CSR spendings or funds coming into the Northeast. Then we are not prioritizing Northeast. Then we have also like a lot of problems coming on geographically, because it's mostly mountain area, and reaching there, it's a very hard task. And again, there's this militancy and everything, which makes it very, very hard for us to reach there. So here we start with Sunbird Trust, how we are handling this problems, and how we are reaching the remotest of mountains of Northeast and remotest of villages, where people in like mainlanders cannot reach without the help of any person whom they know and trust. You can't enter that villages. We are currently working there. So why we do what we do? It's because of the disconnect, violence, lack of development, and lack of accessibility. Then Sunbird was formally registered in 2014, but the founder and the CEO of our NGO, Sir Christopher Rigo, he was serving in Assam Rifles, and in 2008 itself, he personally started sponsoring students for higher education. So this story started in 2008 only, but formally we got registered in 2014. This will be the sequence for Sunbird Trust. So our vision is peace through education. We want to bring a peace because it's highly disturbed areas. We focus on bringing peace. That can only be possible through education. If we currently educate the children over there, then we can see that. Yes,
See, with how many people we have till lunch? It says 12. How many are present? So present would be.
Sir, I have to take a pause. So please welcome Mr. Srinivas, Director IRINS. This today. So please.
I didn't stop you. He stopped me. Sorry. No, I'm sorry, but being a professor, we are bad at it. Huh? We are always conscious of time. So, please. Sure. Would you like to tell you about your 2 lines only? Only 2 lines.
Morning. It's nice to be amongst all these people. See, I always tell, being at AX and in government service, we always see that the money for the CSR should go to the place where it's supposed to. And we must do something. It's a complementary, not supplement. That means what we cannot do in our own domain, where we can't do with the rules, existing rules and regulations forward for the people. And the other thing is, it should have high impact. You should always look into that. Everybody wants money. If you give me whatever it is, but you must look into she said northeast, violence, domestic. That's where the impact is going to be like. So we must be very judicious about the. So yes, again, thank you.
Welcome. Please. Wait. 2 questions before lunch. How many people we have? Out of 12, how many are present? 4 more. Sure. So my is there?
Yeah, so they didn't come.
But they
Last
come,
minute.
yeah. Okay. Second question. My observation is, like, say, rather than going through all things now, what you enjoy. Let's come to the study.
Sorry.
What research you have done,
okay,
and what are your observations, and also manage the time.
And what is the message?
Message what you want to give us.
okay.
Just go to that message stage. That's all. Huh? Please continue.
Thank you.
How much time she has now?
So she has 5 years. Maybe we can place her with another 5 years.
Sure. So you have 10 minutes now. But sorry for the disturbance.
No.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll continue. How we help the community over there is we finance the education, the children's education, and then we also help in infrastructure, and also we work for the change, the mindset change of the community. So here is our impact. We have impacted, like we have schools all over the Northeast. That's Nagaland, Manipur, Arunachal, and we have 8,400 till 2023. We have sponsored these many kids till now. So as you can see, we have been increasing our the sponsorship of students all over the years, and we have projected this year in this financial year, at least we reached 10,000 students. So the highlights of this sponsorship of students would be that we have reached 600 villages, and we have 90 school partners, and we are the ambassadors of peace. Then we also have challenges, that is digitalization, mentoring of the students, and as we are growing, we have many technical things to be needed, and also career counseling for the students. So these are few pictures how we are bringing change. These were the schools before on your left, and then how we have transformed the spaces. These are the in school we help in all these things, that is digital literacy, community visits, and also we do teacher training and principal training. In Manjli, that is the biggest river island of the world, we have around 12 partner schools over there with whom we handhold and help them gain the quality and capacity for the schools. We also sponsor college students who want to uh, like go in higher studies. So till now we have sponsored 300 students and 20 like all the students are coming and working with us, and also many other companies they are working with. So this was the first batch of students who we had taken from Manipur to Bangalore and got them admitted to the prestigious colleges, and today many of them are working with us. So here we have teacher trainings also, and principal trainings also, so that they have a clear they have a more capacity to run their school, and also the students. So how we have built schools and hostels and toilets and everything since 2016 we had started. We have been going on going like upward only. Few times due to COVID, and in 2023 we saw a lot of violence insurgencies, so it was mostly on halt, but we are going to proceed with it next year. So these are the things we have constructed till now, and so the highlights would be the challenges we are facing. It's basically because of it's in remote areas, and there is band most of the time, no internet or nothing, so it's hard to communicate and everything. This was the school which was sponsored by Axis Bank. It was previously like this, and now it's like this. And this is in Manipur, Kachai. It's the remotest of remotest village. This was the school, and now it's like this. This is our founder, Sir Chris. He is interacting with students, and now it's like this. We also want the community to accept the Assam Rifles and Army, so that because mostly we have seen in the history they both collide a lot. The most of the wars and violences happen between them. It has been happening between them. So now we are focusing on that also, so that they accept the Army and Assam Rifles also. So in this school, these students cook by themselves. This is called kitchenlets, and in the next we'll see. Now they are having a hall of to eat, and then this was the hostel in the the toilets. So the peace activities which we are doing is we are the friendship, like all our schools are named as friendship schools, because we want the friendship with the communities. With like we have heard that Maitai and Cookies are fighting, so in one school we have all the communities and tribals studying there, so that they don't have that mental thing that they are enemies or anything. It's focusing on friendship. Then friendship with armed forces. Then also we go for tours with students with Assam Rifles. We have done a lot of relief work in COVID. What is the message? My message was in before while starting itself. It's that the focus should also go on the northeastern states, not only yeah. You feel that the CSR funds are not reaching as much as it should reach. Could I ask? Yes, it's not reaching.
see, you reminded me of my colleague. We have been in touch, but indirectly. When we graduated out in 82, one of my classmates, he started working in my city. And then he was killed by the extremists, basically, Sanjay Ghosh. So we still do a lot of activities indirectly. We have not been there, basically. So we understand that, basically. But tell us just in 2 lines, what should be done to bring it to the development, what you are saying? How can we do?
Like what problems we are facing is people don't have trust on Northeast because of all the violence and all, and we had seen many of our donors pulling out also because of all this fear. So it's like what corporates can do is they can at least come and see what is the main thing on ground, what is the status, situation, and gain the trust and then help. We are not saying that you just blindly trust us and do it. We say that you can consider the NGOs which are working there and help through the NGOs over there.
Any urgent question from all of us?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. The message is very loud and clear, and it's very well. Have to limit within the time.
So I have lots of disturbance also, so I'm really sorry.
No problem. One question. Because how many companies your idea that was, because there are all oil companies, hydro plants, and from EHL we had supported Shri Ravi Shankar Bidli School. They supported Akshay Patra for kitchen and distribution, and even we support stadium building in Samsung area. So how many companies you are approaching every year?
So every year we don't limit how much we are approaching. We any opportunity we get, we approach. So from last year we have approached more than 200 companies, but we have got from most. So 70% of our funds are from CSR only. Corporates are only helping us, and 10% is individual, and others. Other 20% is others. So yeah, that's it.
Have you been there in Assam ever?
Yes, so I'm living there in Majuli.
Okay. So let me tell you, Jaisu, many a times. Even I have been in Tripura many a times. Things have changed. In development in Northeast. That government is investing huge money.
Also, what's the single ministry, sir?
So
every year.
So probably your study is very limited to the kind of CSR funds you have received from those organizations, or you are not much aware about the transformations which Northeast has undergone. Okay, so that's my suggestion, that you should look at broadening your study limits.
Assam Rifles and Indian Army issue has been also resolved. Yes, there was a recent state of violence. We do agree.
Yeah.
But yes, government is doing a substantial.
I'm not saying that government is not doing. It's more like we have to. Yeah.
Yes, more. So, reach has to be.
Yes, reach. Even if the funds are going, it's in one zone only, or one area, or one state. We see in Nagaland has developed a lot, but Manipur is still not. The hills are still not developed. So those are the things we need to take into account. Yes.
Thank you. And now. Yes, not there. The other person.
Sir, I'm there. Sir, I'm online available.
We would be doing offline first. Persons from offline. Yes.
Mohit has requested she has requested for giving the presentation right now. So may I request if this could be done?
Okay, let's Supriya do it.
Let's make one person. Supriya, please share your screen.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so do I share the screen or the screen will be displayed from there? Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Audible, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, should I share my screen or will it be shared from that end?
You can share this.
Please share your screen, na Supriya, since you already have it.
Yeah, okay. Just give me a second.
The Supriya will be talking about CSR and sustainability in hotels. She is from Amazon.
We can't see your screen.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm so sorry. Actually, the formatting which is seen on the PPT and mine is a little different. That's why I'm sharing the screenshots. Hope it's okay. Yeah. Pardon my voice. I've caught cold. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm audible, right? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Supriya here. Yeah. In the next 10 minutes or so, I'll take this opportunity to talk about the ESG practices in the hotel industry. So within that,
Share the screen myself. You can please continue with the presentation.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll start. So good morning, everyone. This is Supriya here. I'll be taking the next 10 minutes or so to talk about the ESG practices in the hotel industry. So within this, the flow will be like, we'll talk about the materiality analysis for the industry. And then we'll talk about the heart of this presentation, which is E, S, and G aspects. In a more generic sense, we'll talk about the integration, how sustainability has to be integrated into the management, and who are the stakeholders, how they have to be mapped, what are the most important things for them, right? And then I'll just quote an example as to how a specific project can be supported through CSR funding, and it can be by the business backwards working model, so that there is circularity and sustainability of that project. And lastly, I'll touch upon few challenges the industry is facing and what is the way forward, including which has got already some indicators. Right. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the hotel industry, it contributes to about 1% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. This is a growing industry. So keeping the growing prospects in mind, to ensure that there's no further effect due to carbon dioxide emissions, the rate of decrease of carbon emissions has to go down by 66% by 2030 and 90% by 2050, as per the projected rate of its growth, to just keep it within the Paris Agreement guidelines of 1.5 degree temperature increase. So this is as per the Global Hotel Carbonization Report 2017. So there has been a few attempts to create some guidelines and calculation methodologies in terms of standardization. So to quote few, the World Travel and Tourism Council, they introduced something called Hotel Sustainability Basics, which is a set of 12 basic sustainability indicators in which covers the efficiency aspect, the planet aspect, and the people aspect. And this is like a starting point for even the small hotels to pick up the practices and join the sustainability journey. And at a much higher level, the advanced certification is given by the Global Sustainability Tourism Council, who have developed these standards based on 4 pillars, which is environment, social, cultural, and managerial. And lastly, to talk about one of the calculation methodology, carbon emissions calculation methodology, it is called HCMI, Hotel Carbon Measurement Indicator. So this is a tool which can be it's a standalone tool. It can be adopted, integrated into the hotel managerial software, so that it has data like the static and dynamic databases, which it can calculate how much carbon dioxide emissions are reported by that particular hotel, including per guest room. Yeah, next slide, please. So now moving on to the materiality analysis. So as you all might have guessed by now, the energy consumption, water consumption is the highest in the hotel industry, in terms of like approximately 50+% of it is taken by the HVAC system itself, the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system, the kitchen operations, etc. And water is also consumed at a huge amount, both from the operations perspective and also from the customer end. Same with the waste generation. And the two specific criteria for hotel industry, which is supposed to get into materiality analysis, is for sure health and safety and customer satisfaction. Next slide, please. Now moving into, let's talk about a little bit of details in the ESG aspect, starting with the environment. Let's start with the real estate itself. In this, the building architecture is to be, it should be made using recyclable materials, for example, recyclable steel and low carbon steel, so that the overall effect on the climate, overall effect on the environment is reduced. Also, if the architecture can be in such a way that it leverages the solar energy both for heating and lighting, that will be a good starter in terms of building architecture. And we can have indigenous plants to cover, say, the areas like the balconies, the terraces, the perimeter, the premises, etc. And since they are indigenous, there'll be optimal water requirement and no wastage. The other aspect is on digitization of the whole process of for documentation. So a lot of hotels have already started online check-in on mobiles prior to actually reaching the hotel. So similar to that, the other option is use of check-in kiosk at the hotel. So this actually increases the customer experience also, and also there's no paper usage, as you can see. And only if the customer requires a digital invoice, it can be printed out. Otherwise, it can be a digital invoicing at the end of the stay. Moving on to sustainable transportation, the hotels can have tie-ups with electric and CNG cab vendors, and also provision EV charging points in their premises, just to have the overall infrastructure for this growth story of sustainability in this industry. The other aspect is on food. So when we say local sourcing of food, what I mean is we procure things which are available in the very much in the local market. For example, the ones which are grown indigenously, they are highly nutritious. They also support the local economy since we are procuring from them. The other aspect is that the carbon footprint is low, as the transportation is minimal here. And lastly, using, since the vegetarian options can be kept throughout the day, just to quote a statistic, about 57% of the global greenhouse gas emissions from the food industry is attributed to meat production. So keeping vegetarian options also indirectly contributes to control of climate change. Next slide, please. In terms of energy efficiency, so the hotel industry also started moving into LED lighting, smart HVAC systems, and power purchase.
Supriya, can you be fast? Conclude.
Sorry, sir?
Could you please conclude? Come to the message part.
Message part. Okay, so basically, I wanted to cover about all the different aspects which we can inculcate in the environment factors. I'll just go to. So these are the messages itself. So uh, there are some water goals which we have in the terms of staff training. What are the things we can cover? This is also there. So if you give me 5 more minutes, I'll try to cover it faster.
You have another 2 minutes.
Coming to social concept, this is a social aspect of it. So there are. Okay, so as you can see, there are social enterprises which source, which make sustainable furniture using plastic waste. Then there is a community wing which we can create across a lot of big hotels, wherein the eco-friendly cutlery and liquid toiletries can be manufactured by, say, women entrepreneurs in the community, and that market can be provided by the hotel itself. And then also create a model. Slide, please. The others are as shown on the screen. In terms of governance, the one best practice is that we have seen a lot of transgenders and hearing and speech impaired staff facing the customers in the reception and in the restaurant. So this is a very important step for the hotel industry. The other important thing is on the anti-trafficking because hotel industry is misused for child abuse and women trafficking. So there is a good amount of sensitization which is already in place in the hotel industry, and it can be improved across. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. About the integration of sustainable and documentation and leadership walking the talk approach, so that there is transparency in procedures and communications, and there is a participatory model from everyone across the chain, both inside and outside the industry. Sorry, both inside and outside the hotel. Next slide, please. Yeah, so these are the regular stakeholders, and what are the areas of importance for each of them is listed. The KPIs for one selected project, which I just mentioned, was to provide a sustainable livelihood opportunity for women. So some of the KPIs I have mentioned here. So with this model, it is a circular model wherein the women will be continuously employed, and also the hotel will be purchasing the eco-friendly goods from the women, both on the eco-friendly cutlery and also the liquid soaps. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the participatory model should be in such a way that there is, for example, CSR funds coming from the company, government support can be in terms of mudra loan kind of supports, right? And local panchayat can support in terms of providing free space, NGO can support with their expertise, and the youth of the community has to leverage social media for increasing market access. Next slide. And lastly, coming to the overall challenges. So the big players, they have resources to revamp their whole infrastructure and start off with a sustainability journey. However, the support is more required for the smaller players in the hotels, so that it's a complete growth story for the industry as such. And there is a requirement of standardization on green financing, because right now there is some differences in terms of criteria and structures, both at the regional and national level. And we have to support small players who are mostly in the scope 2 and scope 3 emissions in the supply chain part of it, so that they are supported in capacity building.
Priya, please conclude.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Last slide. Yeah, last slide, sir. So the way, before this. So the way forward is that there is something called 3-0 concept. So within this 0 kilometer, in the sense we are sourcing local skill and local construction materials, zero energy, zero carbon dioxide, net zero emission, and third one is zero waste management in the overall cycle. The other one is ESG compliant projects have to be supported, because financially they'll only be viable in the long term. Government mandates, I'll just give an example. For example, if the government mandates that we have to keep 25 degrees of temperature in the hotels, for every 1 degree increase in temperature, there is 6% reduction in the greenhouse gas emissions. So this kind of mandates might come up in future, and it's a good trend. And lastly, the digital trends, which is IoT, AR, artificial intelligence, and robots. These will increase the customer experience. However, we have to take care that it does not affect the social aspect of it.
Thank you.
Yes, so it's the last point. Okay, right, so. I'll just come on video, sir.
Lokesh. Thank you, Supriya. Thank you. Any question?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. A bit on the lower side, but audible.
Which hotel you studied for making your this paper? You have
Yes.
actually. Have you found any hotel where
in specific?
Sir, I have actually studied best practices across different hotels. I checked up IHCL, which is the which is one group, and then I've checked for some.
You study
Hello.
Zero discharge, zero carbon footprint, one in the world, and you study Tata hotels, IT Indian hotels. They have
So for different.
Best practices
So
across the world.
Yes, sir. I actually picked the best practices from some different
Thank you,
hotels,
Supriya.
so that.
Thank you, Supriya. Now Lokesh would take it from here.
Okay.
He's Deputy General Manager from Transport Corporation of India Limited. He will be talking about ESG integration in the transport sector. This is your slide.
Yeah, thank you all. Duration of the thing should be clear to them because the message is
Please
not.
take
Yeah,
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I will. So 11, 12, 5.
Yeah, I will take only 10 minutes basically. And good afternoon all. I'm Lokesh Agrawal. Basically, I'm working in the Transport Corporation of India Limited location. Basically, my thesis topic is study in the adoption of ESG in transport sector. The content is, what is the content now? Scope of study, industry overview, company introduction, product analysis, user adoption analysis, and ESG in transport sector challenge and benefits, and conclusion and recommendation. And the scope of studies basically is understand the adoption of ESG practice in Indian transport sector. Basically, we are three notable transport sector like DHL, TCL, and Mahindra Logistics. And basically, that industry ESG is pushing by the SEBI guideline, and now recently the obligation is coming from the SEBI that's the 75% of the value chain you have to basically disclose from the 2025 to 26. So basically, stakeholders are basically pushing your basically ESG compliance to the customer. So basically, India Logistics is the 40.4% GDP of the India, and the TCL basically contributing 2.5% of the GDP to the Indian economy. In sector, that the transportation sector is almost is having some EN risk is there. So we are basically giving the company introduction like TCI. TCI is a 6,200 crore company. This is a very progressive company like India leading integrated multimodal and supply chain service provider. It is basically a 1,500 IT-enabled office, 5,500 trained employees, and a 14 million square feet warehouse space, and is awarded with the best warehouse service provider and best cold chain integrated service provider. Apart from the major company of TCL is the basically TCI Freight. This is the working in the sector. TCI supply chain solution, which is working in warehouse. TCI Seaways, it is working in basically in the seaways, and TCI Cold Chain is the refrigeration cold chain warehouses. Another company like TCI Bangladesh, TCI Chemical, TCI Foundation, TCI Institute of Logistics. But in product analysis, we are going for the materiality analysis. So for the materiality, the three major component is there, like climate and environment protection, focusing on GHG emission, employee engagement, optional safety and health, diversity and inclusion, and compliance and cybersecurity. These are basically important material topics. Now we are going to stakeholder mapping and engagement. So we are see the important list of stakeholders is like customer and business partners, is investor and shareholders, suppliers and vendors, communities, and government and authorities. Now we are going for the ESG robust framework. We are having a very robust ESG framework like environment, social governance. In environment we have the natural environment for healthier planet,
social, basically we are health and safety and environment, also the social impact and national buildings, and in governance we are trust, dependency and resilience. So in environment we have multimodal shift is there. Basically we are going to the major on the road and rail. Basically, we have all of collaboration with the IIM Bangalore for the consultation parts, and we are basically green material for the precision warehousing, alternate fuel and renewable energies, recycling reuse of materials, and green procurement practice. And social part, we are basically prioritize our basically peoples and HSC policy. Basically, we are having zero harm policy for our social part. Upskilling our workforce, like we having the Institute of Logistics also. Sport facility, like we have a Mila Sports Academy. Tribal and rural education for the TCI Dev School, we are having TCI Dev School. And community healthcare service, TCI Foundation. And also we are having good safe suffer, which are basically contribute to awareness our drivers basically. So we are basically awareness to our drivers, also the companies which we are basically doing the safe suffer. In environment, the shifting our customer toward multimodal logistics, we are moved to 1.5 thousand AFTO. Automobile freight transport operator. So we have moved 83% of the movement through the rail also, because through road to rail, that is 80% saving of the GHG emissions. So there are some case studies there. So we are basically improvement of the GHG emission through the road to rail multimodal logistics. Also, we are CNG vehicle in our fleets. We are 41,000 trips to the CNG vehicles, and we are also the adoption of the electric vehicles and the biodiesels also. And scope 2, basically we have the good warehouses like 525 kilowatt solar power plant installation. Our warehouses used 265,000 kilowatt solar power saved through the solar plants. And we have a 11.5 megawatt wind power project. So we are basically carbon offsets of the wind power project also. In scope 3, basically we are collaboration with our supplier for their initiative sustainability, supplier engagement for improving their own carbon footprint, supply chain for changing your company supply chain, that also working towards the net zero, and buying goods for the lower carbon footprints, and traveling for the avoid unnecessary travels and use efficient mode of transportation. Some initiative is there, the replacement of old vehicle like BS1, BS2. So we have removed the BS1, BS2 vehicles, and the reduction of the dry vehicles also, increase in the capacity deployment of alternate fuel like CNG in the phase-wise manner, and progressive shift to multimodal logistics. In scope 2, we are shifting to LED lightings, design of natural lighting and ventilation, solar panels. These are for the scope 2 emission reduction part. And we are also going for the recyclings like the dryer bins to the workplace, recycling paper, waste and electronic waste. So these are basically our some initiatives. We are collaborate like this. I have already told for the IIM Bangalore Supply Chain Sustainability Lab. So 20th April 2023, we are collaborating with the IIM Bangalore for the consultant part. So basically, they are developing the TEMT tool, TEM tool, basically transport emission.
You can come to the main conclusion.
Yeah.
You have another 1 minute.
Okay. So there is a TEM tool that is providing some scope and scope to scope emission in a single platform. In the CSR project, we have 5 projects like Shiksha, promoting education, coverage, physical aids to the differential persons, Saksham empowerment, enhancing vocational skills, Shaurya, promotion of national recognized sports. There are many TCA Foundation is basically doing all the CSR projects. There are some glimpses for COVID-19 vaccine drives and some community healthcare safeguard is there. For human capital, we are basically prioritizing our people through the HSC program. So we are going for this zero incident and the workplace safe movement of men and material. So there are some program for the HSE part. And now we are doing the diversity, equity, and inclusivity, the empowering through the NOKI are there. Swimming Center, TCI Davis School is there. The travel movement take their narrative to the world. So there are.
Lokesh, what would be your message?
A message to the enhance the ESG drive in the transport sector.
Sir, would you like to ask questions to transport?
See, right.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sir, let's take your take the question first.
Right from your founder, Shri P.D. Agarwalji, the group has come a long way now.
Yes, it is a 60 years old company.
My question to you, as an employee of the organization, how does people feel in the company? Do they feel it's in a DNA or is it a compulsion from the government?
It is a DNA?
Compulsion, compliance.
Yeah.
What does employees feel? Is it compliance or is it in the DNA that you are doing it?
Both. It is basically both.
It is a good presentation about your organization. How many direct employees you have?
Direct employees are 2,000 direct employees.
How many drivers?
Drivers is basically more than 600 drivers.
And navigators?
Navigators is basically controlled by the, I think, 50, 55, I think.
Only.
I don't know basically. I don't know. I don't know.
Navigators play a very major role of route survey. We suffered heavy loss because of poor navigation and proper route survey was not conducted. Product worth million of crore was just somewhere in the river or toppled down.
Yes. Basically, we are doing that. First, we are assessing the what layout is there, what the route is there. After that, we are basically proposal to the customer.
So one typical example, our turbine, gas turbine coming from Bombay via Gujarat was just dropped down in the river because some motorcyclists took over the vehicle and started looking at huge vehicle because navigator was not there and front vehicle was not there. Whole bridge college.
Just stop you there. They just had one typical incident in Hyderabad, Secunderabad, there's a lake. They put a statue there. That statue got burst in. Then they have to take out that song. So I think I'll stop it here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Any questions from your side? Any questions from you?
What is the periodicity of medical examination of your drivers?
We are checking the medical examination in the 6 months. Every each 6 months.
I think your question.
Any questions from you, sir?
I just wanted to have a ESG rating. What is it?
No, basically ESG, this is a listed company, so then the ESG is basically evolving from the ESG evolving. So the company is basically presenting BRSR report for the voluntary for the 2 years. So we don't have any ESG rating. So we are comply with the ESG rating after the 1 year. 24, 25 or 25, 26.
समेश को मैं जरा उसको फोन करके पूछती हूँ क्या बोलता है जी ओके
Thank you, Rakesh.
Thank you, sir.
So I would like to invite two of our guests have come. Mr. Samin, the Joint Secretary Health, and Prabhat is Professor Ains. Please, sir. Mr. Samin, Joint Secretary Health. Prabhat, he is Professor Ains. Two from Ains today. From your health, sir, we have one more member, Director Ames. So, yes. Now I would like to invite Mr. Bajibin Punawala to be talking about ESG guide for airports. Sorry, ma'am, maybe his pronunciation. I'm so sorry. This was yours.
12. I think I missed it.
This one? Please try to finish by 20.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So it's me between us and lunch. Let's go. So we've heard some very, very interesting insights from different fields. And I would say time aaya hai kursi ki peti bandh lijiye. Because what we are going to quickly look into is the world of airports. Why airports? Aviation is a big field. And when it comes to aviation, we very often think of airlines. That's the first thought that comes to mind. And I thought even airports play a very big role. And I'm sure they have a lot of impact on sustainability and ESG. So why not look at airports? The formatting may have gone haywire because this is a Microsoft presentation and we are presenting it on Google Slides. So please bear with the formatting bit. But we'll quickly look at the airport ecosystem, the material topics, the impact of the supply chain and value chain on ESG, and the ESG framework. And we'll do a little bit of a deep dive on airports in India and what does the ESG maturity of airports in India look like. Okay, so what's the story behind these numbers? A lot of numbers there. The key point is when we look at environment impact, especially carbon emissions, the total percentage of carbon emissions for the travel industry is a huge number, which is 27%. It's not on the slide. Within that travel industry, aviation contributes 3 to 5%. Aviation means airlines and everything included, of which airports contribute 2 to 5% within that range. So now percentage-wise, it may not look like a very big number, but when it comes to metric tons, it is huge. The key other points to take away from this slide, the story behind the numbers, as I would call it, is 22% of the airport emissions are due to luggage and the transit within the airport from one point to the other. Airports also contribute substantially to noise pollution because of the aircraft taking off, landing, etc. And that has a huge impact as well. Now, airports also need to be very, very mindful of the future mega trends because this is a very, very fast evolving field. And there are many things that are happening. Climate change, we all understand, but technological advancements. Passengers want everything contactless these days. And so this brings with it its own challenges of data security, the AI, ethics, so on and so forth. So these trends the airports will have to consider when they are preparing their sustainability strategy. Now, if you look at the airport ecosystem, we've spoken about stakeholders. We normally look at stakeholders from the lens of impact and influence, and we do a stakeholder analysis. But airport being such a complex entity, it will also be very useful for airports to look at the governance domains and then do a stakeholder analysis with respect to these domains. Why? Because every group of stakeholder would interact differently through these domains. For example, safety and security. Now, there are many stakeholders within that circle which would need to be consulted. Whereas for aspects like policy regulation, maybe the government agencies would need to be consulted, but others need to be informed. So looking at it from a governance domain would definitely help. This is just a snapshot of the stakeholder analysis and how by each domain the stakeholder analysis would look like. So the key takeaway from this point is when we look at stakeholders, we typically do not look at how they are interspersed with the governance domains. So taking a look at that would definitely help, because airports and aviation is a very, very complex world. The material topics for airports, many of these are common to all industries, but what is different here? For example, climate change. The airports will have to plan their climate change mitigation and adaptation based on specifics to them. For example, some airports are very close to the shoreline. So they would be impacted by flooding, by rains, and so on and so forth. So their climate change policies would have to be adapted accordingly. Whereas some could be in heavy rainfall regions, some could be in dry areas. So that adaptation would be very, very important when preparing the climate change policy. The other different point here, as I spoke already, would be noise. So noise is a very big problem. And if airports do not have practices around the noise impact to local communities around there, it does negatively impact the airport overall. The right-hand side, so this is an interesting aspect when we look at the economic impact of the airport. The direct economic impact, the airports are big revenue generators, I mean the whole airline aviation industry. But the airports can play a big role here by going green and getting more investment on the green side. On the indirect impact, they can influence the supply chain, local sourcing, and that could be something that would benefit the community. Now let's quickly look at the supply chain impact. So when we look at supply chain, we all know most of the emissions come from the supply chain. And so being mindful of the supply chain, being able to influence and manage it is very, very important. What can the airports do? They could do something that is, many airports are doing this around the world, which is the supplier ESG risk assessment. And the key point here is identify groups of suppliers that are high sustainability risk suppliers. For example, here construction contractors for the airport, they would contribute to air pollution substantially. So having specific practices and managing and monitoring them closely for these issues would help. Similarly, IT, technology providers, cybersecurity, data privacy would be really important for them. So doing a risk assessment from a sustainability lens and then coming up with practices, policies to manage this would be very, very beneficial to the airport. When we look at supply chain, then we come to the value chain part. So when we say value chain, there are two aspects here. One is I'll finish. The consumer sentiments are shaping the airline industry. So consumers are willing to pay many percent more for airlines and airports that have sustainable practices. So if the airports are not doing enough, it's going to negatively impact. And here, what they can do is they can improve sustainability by implementing green concession programs, especially for the retail vendors at the airport. Like there's a lot of shopping and a lot of retail activity going on. Okay, now quickly moving to the ESG framework for airports. So I won't go through this, but there are something which is very specific to airports and they need to build this in their ESG strategy. There are some certifications, there are some legislations, and there are some reporting standards. What are airports around the world doing to fight climate change? There's a lot of content there, but I've just broken it into some groups. And these are some best practices that are being adopted by airports around the world. Coming to India, I'll take 2 more minutes. Now let's do a deep dive into India and the airport sector in India. So primarily airports were all managed by the Airport Authority of India. And then post-liberalization, now many private players are coming in. What's interesting to note here is there are 2 major private players in India. One is GMR and one is Adani. So there are 14 international airports in the PPP model, of which 8 are under Adani. 3 are under GMR and the rest are joint between AAI and private players. So these are the 2 key that dominate. Okay, we'll skip this one just to give you a snapshot of maturity of ESG. So GMR has published a sustainability report as well as a BRSR. They are ranked in Sustainalytics. The ranking is medium risk for most of their airports. MSCI CRISIL not rated. If we look at Adani, they have formulated goals which are very articulate, but they are not rated on any of these platforms, and they are still evolving in their maturity. They have published a BRSR though, where it was not mandatory for them to do so, but they have published one. And the last 2 slides, if you look at BRSR for both, so the key takeaway here for me was that every airport is perceiving the constructs of the BRSR differently. For example, GMR says that this principle 2 is applicable to them and they have put some points, whereas Adani says this is not applicable to us because we are a services business. So the perception of BRSR from different airport players is different, and therefore the information that comes out from there is also very different. Okay, the last slide. So what can India do? These points are very high level here, but when I looked at it, it looked like everyone is working in a silo. So having a national framework where airports can collaborate, share best practices, build standards would definitely help. R&D investment, because there's lots happening on sustainable aviation fuel and so on, and airports are very rapidly evolving. Having dedicated R&D investment along with the government and public would help, and of course, continuous learning never stops. With that, I conclude with my favorite quote, be the change that you would like to see. So this was about this. Thank you. Yeah.
Tell me one thing. See, when it comes to, we understand when the plane flies, they put a lot of pollution and all. So is pollution component when you study ESG in airport industry?
Yes, it is not that big an impact compared to what the airlines pollution is. Like I said, the airports contribute totally 2 to 3% of the overall airline pollution.
So these are two different things.
Yes, the aviation is all airlines. They are far more polluting than the airport themselves. But airport have a lot of waste and many other environmental impacts.
What you're talking about is about
airports.
Yeah.
Any other questions, please?
So I would just like to add in your things that need to do that everything at the airport has been supplied by some company or the listed companies. Similarly, unlisted companies, it should be made mandatory.
No, I agree. If it's mandatory, it happens. And looking at the BRSR, we are seeing that trend change.
So it is not in the DNA.
It's not, yeah, it's not in the DNA yet. And with, Adani is playing such a big role with 8 airports, I'm sure a lot more can be done there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I must say, a well-researched, one of the finest presentation. Next would be Amit. He would be talking about ESG in company's performance. You are for consultant for
impact of ESG on companies.
What is your name? Six.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Amit Singh. The topic for the presentation will be impact of ESG on the performance of companies. So for this presentation, I have taken reference of some of the reports being published by some rating agencies and also a report supported by NSE. So in first slide, it is about the evolution of ESG globally, how it started based on the records, it is like in 1971, it all started globally. Then there were different initiatives, some signing of agreements. Like in 1997, it was Kyoto Protocol, then 2015 Paris Agreement. Now talking about the Indian scenario, India's ESG evolution. So as per records, it all started in 2007 with the first advisory by RBI for mandating the commercial banks, CSR and sustainability. Then in 2012, SEBI mandates for the BRR reporting for 100 listed companies. Then in 2016, the SEBI publishment of green bonds, and the latest one in 2021 about the launching of BRSR reporting by SEBI. Now, talking about the opportunities for the Indian ESG investments, so it has been categorized under two segments. One is from the national targets, which have been committed by the government side. The first one is $5 trillion GDP by 2025, then SDG goals by 2030, then signing of agreement at the Paris Agreement, and then opportunities from the investors. So the major part which is being looked at by the companies is due to the demand from the investors. There are some Indian and global facts which I brought out in this slide. So the rankings based on the performance of SDG members in a total of 193 UN members. So it is being led by Finland, and the rating of India was 120 in 2021, but as per current scenario, it has improved to 112. Then talking about global gender gap index, for that context also, the country's rating have improved from 140 to 135. Then the ESG assessment spectrum, what all are being considered under the environment head, social head, and governance head. Like for environment, water use, resource use and biodiversity, waste generation and recycling, energy and emissions. And on social side, employee management, supply chain management, communities, customers. On the government side, board composition, board independence, functioning and experience, management track record, disclosures, and the compliances. Now, considering the Indian perspective, so there have been support from the government side to the ESG. It is through government push to electrical vehicles and renewable energy usage, then air quality index, waste management rules, pollution emission standards, discontinuation of old vehicles, then mandating the industries for 2% CSR funds, free education for children, minimum girl to women reservation quota for the gender balance, affordable housing schemes, and for governance side, independent director norms, independent audit committee, women director representations, insolvency, bankruptcy code, then management remuneration norms. So the major, based on a survey in one of the reports, so it was being like the survey is taken for 4 main categories, like ESG factor, if it is a matter of concern, then how it aligns with the client values, advisor firm's investment strategy, and then the current trend. So first, more than 60% responses were for the ESG factor, it matters. Then the evaluation was done in one of the reports for more than 200 companies, in which these are the points, these are the parameters being considered for the evaluation for the environment side, social and the governance side. So based on these parameters, so first ESG overall scoring, so the IT sector and financial sectors were leading the groups. So out of a score of total of 100, the IT sector, one of the industries, have scored the maximum ESG scores with 79, and for financials it was 73 by the one of the banks. This is the range. So health or pharma. So healthcare, it was around to 60%. 60 was the score out of 100. So 60 was the maximum, and the average was around 50, between 50 to 55.
Above average, correct.
And again, based on the evaluation, based on scope emissions, considering all the scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions. So the major 3 to 4 sectors: power, oil and gas, cement, and metals and mining. So the emissions from these sectors were used. And why the IT and financial sectors were also getting a better score due to one of the reasons of this emissions. They were almost negligible emissions from these sectors. Then emissions compared with the services, again, based on the energy intensive industries, those were maximum. Like under the energy intensive industries were thermal power, oil and gas, cement and metals. And proportion of renewable energy out of the total percentage of energy being consumed by the industrial sectors. So under this category, around 50%, it was the maximum utilization of renewable energy from the paint industries based on that report.
We come to the point, conclusion part.
So the conclusion part, like based on this study, it is clear that ESG has been a focus for the industries, and considering some of the major push, one is from the government international commitments, then major one from the investors seeking investable ESG ratings from the companies, then regulators mandating detailed and structured disclosure. So, and the final conclusion for this is like India have been disclosing, like number of industries have been disclosing their ratings, and they have been performing the standards, based on the standards, what has been their scores, and which will in the future be matching the global peers in the industry segments. So now, based on the surveys, like the top 10 companies on both environment and the overall ESG scores, they have outperformed their peers on the earning before interest and taxes for the last 3 financial years. And IT and financial sectors have been leading in the with the maximum ESG scores. So these points were the conclusions. Like IT and based on that study, IT and financial
services scored the best because they are non-polluting. So any questions from anybody?
Amit, since we have done an extensive thing, and now we know like lot of things from 2007, 2008 has been done by the government. At this point of time, for a company, which standard they should refer?
Yes. Sir, actually for the companies to refer to the standard, so it depends on the sector of the industry, because for some of the industries, it has been a mandate. The ones which are listed by the those 100,000 industries listed by SEBI, but for BRSR reporting. But for a number of industries, like there may be more emissions from those industries, but that referring to these standards may not be of interest to them, because talking about the power sector.
Just on a lighter note, where you will tell Adani to go to find the on lighter note, what would you advise to?
It depends.
Now you have studied so much. Advise her as a Adani where they should go to find ESG.
So Adani as a group, it will again depend to the sector, for which sector they want to go, and what would be the investors looking for. As for my
we have 3 people, 3 directors from AIM. They always say कि पहले test करवा के लाओ. Test क्या करवाना है Adani को? That's what I want to ask. So I'll answer that question. Adani is a listed company, and from actually from 2024-25 onwards, like you were saying that it was going to come, has made it mandatory for the top 150 listed companies to go for ESG rating. Adani, few of Adani companies will definitely answer is there's the word answer lies. This company doesn't come under those 150 companies. That's where the answer is. Right? Very simple answer. And JG 150 here, this company doesn't come under that.
Given law of averages that IT in the industry, who is the best?
So there was one other report also in which there was a group, ITC Limited, which was given the best ranking. So the ranking, it was based on like different category of the segment. Those come under FMCG. But in this report, there were different IT and financial sector who were given the best scores.
You use the crystal research.
Report.
Yeah, which year do they pertain?
So why I have used this report of 2021 because another comparison was for one of the reports supported by NSE. So that was also for 2021. So these data are for 2021. The first slide comparison of the global and the Indian.
Sanjay, I would like to call Sanjay. He will be talking about a paper-based industry. It's complete by 11, 12, 7. Great. My regards to my teachers, to all the jury members, to my seniors, and to my batchmates. I have taken a very interesting topics, ESG implementation in the paper-based industry. We must have seen this tagline like paper bachao, ped bachao. And we see this is our common perception. Like we see, like the paper industry is using the basic the forest pulp. But in the context of for the countries like India, you will be surprised. Like a country like India, we are using 93-94% paper is being made by the recycled waste. We are using only the 6 to 7% fiber is coming from the forest wood. So this is happening in India. That's why I have taken this this topic for my research. And before I start, I would like to share one of my experience I had with one of the client. In 2015, I got a company as a client, and I went there for a compliance visit. So I came to know that that company is making 300 crores turnover, but they did not have any the basic compliance in the facility. Like even the child labor was working there. They did not have any environmental compliance. They did not have any the waste compliance, and the health safety norms were they were lacking like zero. They did not have any health safety compliance and system in place. So I have been working with some of the paper mills as a FSC certification consultant, and one more factor I came to know that there are 550 paper mills in India, and the total turnover is 70,000 tons annually. 70,000 crores. This is the industry size, and it is going to be a 50 million tons industry by 2025. And globally, this industry is the growth rate is more than 10% annually. as I have mentioned, like this is the data I have taken from the Google. It was 20 million tons in 1718 and 25 millions in 1920, and it is around 35 millions in 22-23, and it is going to be an industry of 50 million because of the boom in the packaging, recycled packaging at the global level. It is going to be 50 million ton industry in India. Right now, these are the two standards which are being followed by the paper industry. FSC came into the picture in 2014, and because of this FSC, this standard, most of the paper mills came into the profit. Earlier, most of the like 90-95% paper mills were they were in the loss-making industry. And these are some facts about Indian paper industry. Like 861 paper mills are there, and 526 are the operationals. And we have 5% share in the global production right now. And in India, 15 kg is the per capita consumption, while it is at the global level, it is 57 kgs. And by 2024-25, it is going to be 24 million consumption annually. And this is the global scenario. Like 21% paper is coming from the hardwood and the bamboo fiber, and 8% is coming from the agro waste, like this bagasse and the wheat waste, and 71% paper is being made by the recycled fiber. The paper industry is using the industrial waste and the household waste. And these are the materiality topics which are very important for a paper mill, especially for the water, and because they are using the water in a huge quantity, water and the electricity. So it is very important if they should be compliant in the sector, like water and the electricity and the emissions they are making. Social compliance, they are lacking in this field also, they are using child labor. Okay. And when I was doing the research for my thesis, I came to know that no data is available from the Indian scenario. So I have taken this example from the Europe. 70% paper is the recycled paper, and this is the GHG emission. In GHG emission, fuel is the main responsible for the emission. 50% is the share from the fuel, and electricity is responsible for the 24% of the total GHG emission. And in Japan, scenario is totally different. In Japan, 46.7% is coming from the wood pulp, means from the forest, and 53% is coming from the recycled paper. And my conclusion, my message is paper industry in India is going for the global, and if they want to have a global image, they should implement the sustainability in their they should work for the sustainability, because without sustainability, they are not going to have to create a global image. This is from my side. Any question is welcome. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. You have said that paper consumption is going to, when we are propagating on e-transaction and
Right now, what is happening in the paper industry, like main demand is coming from the packaging sector, because it is happening at the global level. Recycled packaging, the demand is increasing by 30 to 40%, and all the paper, especially in India, all the paper mills are making the recycled paper.
One is packaging, I agree. But otherwise, office is stationary, education is stationary, where there is a reduction
Yeah, that is the bridging paper actually. In India, only the few companies are making that kind of paper. More than 70% paper is made as the recycled paper in India right now. Pardon? Pawan and Balraj, you would be online. Others, Pawan, you can take it. You can present. And next would be Balraj. Thank you, sir. I think you want to take a leave. Sure, sir. Thank you. I'll drop. Harsha, please take Pawan and Balraj next in line. Pawan, are you there? Pawan, online, Pawan, online people. Am I audible? Balraj?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, we can hear you. I am traveling actually.
Hi, can we
So I
request
will be
Bharat
presenting a
Venu to give the presentation?
Hello, hello, hello,
Bharat Venu,
hello.
please come
Yes,
forward, give the
yeah,
presentation, share your slides.
yeah. It's audible. Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, 1 minute. I will share my slides. 1 minute. 1 minute.
How many people are left in online now? I think Pawan, Balraj.
I'm Shwadagopan. I need to present. Yep.
Yeah, my screen is
Yeah,
audible,
Ravi.
visible. Hello.
I
Yeah,
am
go ahead.
also.
Okay.
Yeah, my screen is
Please,
visible.
yes, please do.
Yes. Okay.
Please complete in
Uh,
8 minutes sharp.
Yeah, my topic was ESG framework for real estate operations. So why I choose this topic? Because present day in the most of the Indian companies are doing a BRSR framework or GRI framework. There is no specific framework they are not following for the real estate sector, and few things they missed out the in the sustainability reporting. So after my doing some research works in this few companies, few Indian companies, Indian real estate companies, so I got an idea we need to develop some framework like GRI for Indian real estate operations. So so that's way in India also this framework was developing. So that is a ESG real estate operation framework. It will be the policies also will be developing. Maybe it will come in 2025. So I just got an idea. I take this topic and I'm going to present this topic. So most of our emissions, 40 percentage of the global carbon dioxide emissions is came from the ESG sectors. Approximately 70% produced by building operation, remaining 30% comes from the constructions. So because we need to develop focus on real estate operations, because in most of the metropolitan cities real estate operations are operating very bad, especially in Chennai, Bangalore or all. But they are showcasing their report as a VR sustainability following. Nowadays they started showcasing as a kind of greenwashing. For example, in Chennai, the flood, why the flood came? Because of the worst real estate operation. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, my PPT is visible, right?
Yeah, your PPT is visible.
Yeah. In Chennai floods, most of the why the Chennai floods every year hitting floods in Chennai? Because of Chennai, most real estate is one of the worst hitting business, because they developed all marshy lands and some areas they develop the real estate sector. It's not fit for the housing purpose. They developed all ponds and areas. In Tamil we call it as a airy. They develop as the water catchment area as a they develop water catchment area as a real estate area, and they put a flat and sell the houses, and people also build houses. After the flood affected, the flood was come to up to ground floor, first floor maybe. So there is no there is no channelize the water in that area. So these are the situation happens in Bangalore also, near Whitefield areas, in Chennai also. In sometimes it happens in Mumbai. So most of the areas affected by flood because of the worst real estate condition. So, and also people claiming we do a green building certification, then it is a sustainability. Because in nowadays most business also green building business. People are name shape purpose, they are getting some certifications and they apply go for a certification for because of the clearance only they are go for the applying the certification. They are not focusing on sustainability part. Most of the real estate groups, they are not focus on global sustainability or sustainability practice. They need to develop, they need to do a clearance part. They need to do a clearance part. They go for the green building certifications and they get some certification and rating. They claim our building as a sustainability building, but they are not following in green building also. They have a terms and condition credits on all are there. The land should be not agriculture land or wet area land or pond or, but they are not following those principles, but they claiming that as a green building certifications. Mm. So because of this post sustainability procedures and the follow-ups, because of this the floods are not all happens in real estate factors. And what is the importance of the real estate factors, real estate developments in environmental part? A green building become a premium assets. Green building material regulatory requirements should be tightened. Effective risk management can be improved. In social, affordable housing is needed and opportunities, and health and well-being for a construct in building design and also construction workers. So most of the real estate companies, they are not concentrate on construction workers side, construction workers social issues. For example, construction workers sanitation, construction workers health and well-being, educations. They not concentrate in. I after my research in all sustainability reporting in Indian real estate sector, nobody didn't focus about on the construction part. Construction pollution, or they are only showcasing their corporate or their real estate performance only. And also governance, CSR activities essential to good governance, and technology as a vital role achieving ESG goals. Mm, and what are the real estate environmental factors? Energy consumption, greenhouse gas consumption, material consumption, renewable energy, waste management. In social factors, community development, employee engagement, health and well-being, freedom of association, stakeholders, child labor policies, and real estate governance factors, anti-corruption, cyber security, data protection. These are the overall real estate ESG factors. I'm coming for what I developed in this. I'm coming for the main frameworks. So actually, I developed the framework topics based on the GRI, Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmarks, and United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So I'm just analysis what are the issues in current real estate industry: overpopulation, unending project delays, land availability, outdated building bylaws, outdated building technicals, funding, pollution, construction wastewater, water waste management, sanitation, labor housing, labor safety, labor wages, labor health and well-being, importing materials, not doing any LCA analysis in this real estate sector. Most of the companies are not showing LCA part in there real estate things. And these are the important factors, current issues. And what are the construction workers facing current issues? Because construction workers low salaries, they hire mostly North Indian Bihari people. They are not giving a proper salary as per the policies. There is no proper housing facilities, there is no proper sanitation, there is no proper health and safety for them. And these are the most of the issues. If you go in every construction site, the construction workers still now they are facing most of the issues. But they most of the real estate company they are claiming we are following sustainability nowadays.
Pawan,
So
can you
actually,
conclude?
yeah, I'm going to conclude. I'm mostly I just frame based on the GB global real estate sustainability benchmark. I just frame my framework. These are the framework for a real estate operation: strategy analysis, organization profile, identify material aspect on boundaries, stakeholder engagement, report profile, governance, ethics, and integrity. In environment, materials, energy, water, biodiversity, emission, effluent, waste, product and services, transport, land degradation. I include land degradation, contamination, and redundation point. In governance, also economic performance, market response, indirect economic impact, procurement practice. Procurement practice also involved. In social, I segregated as a labor practice and decent work, human rights, society, product responsibility topics. In social employment, occupational labor practice, I included one topic as a labor practice and decent work, employment, occupational health and safety, training and education, diversity and equal opportunity, equal remuneration for men and women. In human rights, I given a non-discrimination, child labor, forced or compulsory labor, security passes, supplier human right assessment, society, labor communities, anti-commercial public policies, anti-competitive behavior, product responsibilities,
Pawan,
customer health and safety,
Pawan,
product. Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute. I will finish. It is a last slide. I'm in a last slide. So here, what I framework. This framework is developed from like a green building certification framework. This framework, like
30 seconds,
ESG,
Pawan.
yeah,
I'm so
ESG
sorry.
category, ESG category, intent, requirement, evidence, and scoring. The scoring methodology based on the environmental, social, governance, 45%, 35%, 20%. Total, the scoring methodology is 100%. The all over the framework was developed from the global sustainability. Global real estate sustainability benchmark framework. This idea I got from the global GRESB. So from the GRESB, the concept I include the green building certification concept. I framework only the certification part for the ESG. This is my the whole thesis topic. I don't have much time to explain about each intent wise. So yeah, I completed.
Pawan, thank you. Next would be Balraj.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions? Sure.
Not that which best tech studying real estate. Have you studied DMRC? Have you
Hi, since Balraj is in a bad network zone, Rakesh would be giving the presentation right now. Rakesh, could you please share the screen and take the lead?
Yeah, thank you. I will go ahead.
Keep the screen in the slideshow format.
Like 5 ನಿಮಿಷದ time.
Can I start?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rakesh, we are short of time. Rakesh, we are short
Yes,
of
yes.
time. Kindly conclude in
Sure,
6 to
sure.
7 minutes.
I will complete by 10 minutes.
அகடமிக்கே முடிக்கணும்னு முடிச்சிட்டேன் அவ்வளவுதான் சப்மிட் பண்ணிட்டேன் இதா
There is some disturbance. Can I?
ESG framework, ESG framework, the materiality topics framework for a real estate sector அவ்வளவுதான்.
There is some disturbance. Can I start the presentation?
Yes, please start the presentation.
So I took the topic of ESG integration in the FMCG sector. So where this is a company where it is a manufacturing the glass, where these are the various products I would like to show, like beverages, food, pharma, specialty, alcohol. So these are the various packaging products this company is manufacturing. So for this, I would like to show that how all the ESG practices has been integrated in the FMGC sector. So for that, first I would like to intimate that how we have done the materiality assessment for an organization. So this is the way we have identified the materiality topics which are high priority for the sector, glass sector, as per MSCI for the environment, social, and the governance. So this is the process we have conducted for the materiality assessment. Like we have conducted the stakeholder identification, evaluating frameworks, online surveys, diagnostic assessments, and the final matrix map. So the stakeholder engagements, these are the various key stakeholders we have considered, like the senior board management, peers, customers, employees, rating agencies. So, and again, the key material indicators as per leading standards and the frameworks, we have considered the SASB, TJSI, and MSCI. So based on this, by conducting the surveys from the various customers, we have identified the priority topics under environmental, social, and governance. Apart from that, I have highlighted the additional insights of the from the customers. And these are also indicators from the suppliers what we have received. They are also keen focus on the carbon positive green buildings and the climate change, and for social health, safety, workplace, for the responsible investigation and the diversity and inclusion, for governance, business ethics, and corporate governance, ESG risk management. So these are some of the high priority topics, and these are from the employees materiality indicators which we have identified, and these are some of the more insights from the employees where they are asking for conducting the more awareness programs and the guidelines to work from regarding the safety work practices and the visual display to all the workplaces, and the supply chain sustainability, reduction in waste generation. So these are some of the more insights from the employees, and this is from the senior management board, and they are also keen concern about the energy efficiency, carbon positive, and zero waste to landfill. Under social, we are keen concern about the health and safety of workmen, human capital development, and community engagement, and the corporate governance, business ethics, and the ESG risk management. So these are also the come out from the surveys what we have identified. So these are some of the peer selection from the competitors, like in international basis and domestic basis. I have identified. Whereas for the international, we have considered some of the reputed companies like OA Glass, Verilla, Petropac, and Wheel Glass, and for domestic HNG and PGP. So this is a materiality topic priority we have considered for the international peers, which are yellow highlighted is the material, and the white marked is the not material. So this is the ESG material topics imported to the domestic customers, which we have bifurcated again under E, S, and G. So we have done the materiality mapping, which are important to the stakeholders and important to the organization. Where I said I have considered the various frameworks like SSB, MSCI, DJSA, peers, and the customers. I have downloaded all the gone through the survey documents, and then based on these materiality topics, we have gone through for ESG and identified the material relevant ESG material topics. And after everything which is important to organization, impact of the organization, and influence to the stakeholders. So these are the various materiality topics like medium, high, and very high topics has been identified. And these are the 9 materiality topics which has been identified as a top priority from all the customers and various stakeholders. So these are the topic like health, safety, workplace, business ethics, governance, water stewardship, capital development, zero waste to landfill, community engagement, and carbon positive. Out of which these are the 9 material key topics. So after that, the gap assessment with the peer companies under safety and health of workplace, how they are going through, like the international customers having the targets of less than 2 accidents by the year 2025, and another customer is having another peer company is having to committed to the 50% improvement of TRIR by 2030. So by considering all these and the present, this is the organization initiatives, and these are some of the opportunities, like a few highlighted, like track all the accident reports that occur in the workplace, identify not hotspots, target for reducing TRIR, and roadmap for achieving targets. So these are some of the key initiatives we can adopt in the glass sector when compared with the peer companies and the international targets. And this is the something like the business ethics, where the one of the peer companies 100% training compliance for the employees exposed. And these are some of the organizational initiatives where the present practices are going on, the code of practices, procedures, and the fair disclosures, risk management policies, everything the company is following. And the opportunities, these are some of the things where some of the policies where we are missing can be adopt in the practices by comparing with the peers. So this is the, again, this is same with the business ethics, corporate governance, the same thing compared with the all the peer companies and the organizational initiatives and the opportunities what they are having. And the product and the safety quality, this is the key factor for the FMGC sector, because this is the food manufacturing product where the all the we need to take the keen care about the quality, like all the initiatives adopted by the peers has been noted, and then based on that, this organization is also having these key initiatives like the quality certifications under food safety FSCC 2000 and the quality management systems. And these are some of the opportunities when compared to the peer companies, like the third party certification for product labeling and conducting the life cycle assessments for the top products. So these are some of the key factors identified, and these are the some of the water stewardship targets when compared with the peer companies. And so water baselining, if we see the consumption, discharge, recycling, withdrawal, and these are the various key factors we have taken, and how the peer companies are reporting their sustainability on CDP rating, and how this organization is doing. And this is the some of the roadmap we have planned for the organization. So under which the initiatives, if we say all the units working under this organization are zero liquid discharge plants, and all the 50% of the water are recycling to the STPs and the RO systems, and the rainwater harvesting capacity is having, and 12,000 KL of rainwater and the plants has been utilizing, and the all the test reports has been conducting as per the norms. And this is a zero waste to landfill, especially for the glass sector. Cullet is the main raw material resource that we have been engaged with the NGOs and collecting the various from various suppliers, and that too from the nearest customers. We are trying to collect the cullet, which is the major raw material source, which
Rakesh, I'm
helps
sorry
us
to
in
interrupt you. Could you please come to the message? Please conclude now.
Okay, then. So when compared with these things, the carbon positive scorecards, where all the companies are keen focus report the renewable energy and the change in the emission intensity and the transition to renewable energy, carbon offsettings, and the baselining compared with the peer companies. So the main key concept is to utilize more and more the renewable energy and reduce the fuel-based energy reductions targets. And apart from that, this is vision which has been focused area for the insulating the environment, and the under social, the raising the bars, and the governance reflecting transparency for the business conduct. So these are the key material topics which has been aligned with the UN SDGs under environmental, social, and the governance. And these are some of the proposed ambitions where an organization can take for the glass sector, like capturing all the scope 3 emissions, and the going with the SBTi targets, and reducing the targets by 2030 for scope 1 and 2 reduction targets and the plannings. And for the social governance part, launching the workforce for the future program of upskilling employees for corporate governance, maintaining the good
Rakesh,
ethics and
please, I think your
factors.
time, you've extended the time. Sir, anybody would like to ask questions? Thank you, Rakesh. I'm sorry. We have exceeded the time. For other candidates, we'll take it after lunch. So I would
Okay,
like
then.
to request our guest jury and members, please follow.
So at what time we should join?
2.
Okay.
Thank you. Please join us for lunch.